Recently, Cisco Webex announced that they will be testing a new product, a new design, a new idea. I genuinely have no idea. Chris Matishik is here with me. He wanted to make this kind of a surprise. He wanted to see my natural reaction, so you guys are going to see my reaction as this unfolds. Chris, what the heck is happening? I feel like I should be concerned.
Not necessarily. Look,
Okay.
you know, when we record these videos, you have that little button by the side that gives me an electric shock when you want me to shut up. Okay. So, you know, we've used this several times, and I've always been grateful when I've looked at the final edit. So perhaps inspired by this, or perhaps not, Cisco, in its fabulous WebEx video conferencing product, is testing something that I think everyone will have a strong feeling about. Some negative, some positive. Here's the thing. Have you ever been in a meeting where just one person talks all the time?
Yeah.
Was that person perhaps a self-regarding male?
Yeah.
I figured that might have been the case. And so has Cisco figured this, because it's testing something where the person who organizes the meeting controls how much time each participant is allowed to speak. So, as far as I understand it, once it's like the Oscars, once the acceptance speech goes a little too far, the music starts playing.
The music gets really loud.
It's kind of shut up. Although I suspect what may happen in this particular case is suddenly they're muted. It's like you're halfway through a sentence and think it's a little bit like that. I have to say, now what's your instant reaction to that?
Well, so honestly, my instant reaction was it's usually the person who organizes the meeting speaks too long. But some meetings are organized by a secretary, a PR person, somebody else. It could be really helpful, especially my biggest thing is if you schedule a meeting for 30 minutes, please don't take 45 minutes. So
what Cisco says is that they have stand-up meetings, for example, where everyone is supposed to have the same amount of time to declare what's been happening in their particular specialty that week. But what actually happens is some people talk for too long and the last person or the last two people get 10 seconds each. Now, if I was one of those people, I might be glad to just get 10 seconds because I may not want everyone to know what's going on in my little fiefdom. And maybe my little fiefdom is something that I prefer to control and no one else to have an opinion about. On the other hand, clearly, there are in meetings, as you said, dominant characters who think that their voice is far more splendid, far more interesting, and far more important. And when we talk about self-regarding males, they do occasionally love to talk over, for example, underlings or females or just anyone that they think is inferior to them. So I'll be fascinated to see if this testing turns into an option that WebEx users actually have and to see how it really goes. What do you think? Do you think it could actually redress the balance of power a little bit?
I think it could be really awkward. Sometimes people who talk and talk and talk don't realize that's what they're doing. And so if they're just continually cut off, I don't think they're going to like that, but I think it makes a lot of sense for meetings that you need to cram a lot of information. You need to cram a lot of people speaking. I think it could be really useful.
Here's the thing. Do you think that everyone at the meeting should have their own little button that is a let them speak button? You know, it's like the Masked Singer, take it off. Maybe in this case, it could be let them speak, you know, that they actually want the person to speak. That there could be a sort of democratic consensus button where they want them to talk for longer.
I would feel pressured to use it for the people, you know, those people who want to carry on and on and on, and they just look at you and they don't want to stop talking, I would fall back in my seat and hit the button and just let them keep going.
And here's the other thing. What if you're the meeting organizer and one of the people in the meeting you completely hate? And so you give them 42.3 seconds per meeting. Do you think they'll notice after a while that their allotted time? Do you have to? I wonder if you have to email them in advance to say, your allotted time for this meeting is 42.3 seconds. And you must be concise within that time or there will be a penalty.
Something tells me eventually HR would be involved with something like that. If you're continually getting 42.3 seconds, that might be a little questionable. That secretary might not be in charge of scheduling the meetings anymore. But the point would be, it would get across very quickly.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it just? See, Cisco admits that during the testing, how can I put this? Reactions have not been universally positive. So I don't know whether some form of this thing or all forms of this thing will ever actually be released. But I kind of want to see it in action. I actually want to see a video where people have controlled times. I think it could be fascinating. What a great meeting that would be.
I would get so stressed going into that meeting knowing I have 4 minutes. I have to get my point across exactly in 4 minutes. I would set up my timer right here next to my laptop and I would hit start and I would word vomit just as quickly as I'd probably get done in a minute and a half and no one would have understood a word I said. But I think it has its place. I think it'd be very funny to see. I would have a hard time not laughing as someone just gets cut off and they're just still.
That'd be great. I mean, it's almost worth it just for that, especially if it's the CEO or the CMO spouting a load of marketing buzzwords or something. That would be really rather beautiful.
Mm-hmm. No, it could be very funny.
So we say, yay, Cisco, don't we? We say, yay, Cisco, go for it. We think this is a great idea, much better than any of your advertising. This is a great idea, and we want to see it live in action, right?
It has my thumbs up. I can't wait.
Excellent. There we go.
All right, Chris. We made the decision. Somebody call Cisco. All right, Chris. Well, thank you for this. I will be interested to see if this makes it. I don't currently use Cisco Webex very often, but I think if this makes it to market, I think I'm going to have to get an account just to try it out.
Absolutely. Same here.
All right, Chris. Well, thank you so much for telling us about this. As always, for all things tech, be sure to stick with ZDNet.